Hello and a very warm welcome to today's class. I'm Asmita, your IELTS mentor here at Vedantu Study Abroad, and today we are doing part 2 of our reading comprehension. We did part 1, that was the first passage of the test yesterday. We're going to do the second passage today and the third passage tomorrow. So please let me know if you are ready and all set to get started, because we're going to get to it right away. The process is simple, you already know. We're going to skim the passage, take our notes, go to questions, skim the questions, then answer each question in detail. Very simple, very efficient. This is how you should be attempting your reading comprehension section. Hi Tanmay, hello. Okay, so without further ado, I am going to... Okay, actually, I'll give you 2 minutes. I'll give 2 minutes. Because if you miss the beginning of the passage, then you won't be able to answer questions. So I will give you 2 minutes to join in. As you join in, let me know if you were able to solve all the questions yesterday. If yes, then how confident are you feeling about the reading section? Okay. Lots of silent spectators here. That's all right. I am going to get started now. So here we are. Okay. Now, a quick tip. When you see that the passages are already marked, as in there is a letter in front of them, rest assured that you're going to get a match the headings or match the content kind of a question. Okay? What are these questions? These are which of these headings will match which paragraph. So you will have a list of headings and you have to match them to the paragraph that they are appropriate for. Another question type that you can expect here is match the content. Which paragraph has this information? You will have a piece of information, you have to match it to the paragraph, right? So you can expect these match type of questions whenever you have a letter next to the different paragraphs of your passage, all right? Okay, now let us get started. This book will provide a detailed... Once again, I need to make some room for myself to walk. Okay, ready? This book will provide a detailed examination of the Little Ice Age and other climatic shifts. But before I embark on that, let me provide a historical context. We tend to think of climate as opposed to weather as something unchanging, yet humanity has been at the mercy of climate change for its entire existence, with at least 8 glacial episodes in the past years. Our ancestors adapted to the universal but irregular global warming since the end of the last great ice age, around 10,000 years ago, with a dazzling opportunism. They developed strategies for surviving harsh drought cycles, decades of heavy rainfall, or unaccustomed cold, adopted agriculture and stock raising, and revolutionized human life and founded the world's first pre-industrial civilizations in Egypt, Mesopotamia, and the Americas. But the price of sudden climate change in famine, disease, and suffering was often high. All right, so what is this paragraph about? It's about history of climate change. All right, how there has been climate change throughout the history of planet Earth. The Little Ice Age lasted from roughly 1300 until the middle of the 19th century. Only 2 centuries ago, Europe experienced a cycle of bitterly cold winters. Mountain glaciers in the Swiss Alps were at the lowest recorded memory, and pack ice surrounded Iceland for much of the year. The climatic events of the Little Ice Age did more than help shape the modern world. They are the deeply important context for the current unprecedented global warming. The Little Ice Age was from a deep freeze, however, far from a deep freeze, however, rather an irregular seesaw of rapid climatic shifts, few lasting more than a quarter century, driven by complex and still little understood interactions between the atmosphere and the ocean. The seesaw brought cycles of intensely cold winters and easterly winds, then switched abruptly to years of heavy spring and early summer rains, mild winters, and frequent Atlantic storms, or to periods of droughts, light northeasterly winds, and summer heat waves. Okay, so now this is explanation of Ice Age. This is the explanation of Ice Age, how it came about, what is the exact nature of it, and how it shaped the modern world. Okay? Tanmay, I have raised that issue, so you should be getting somebody to contact you soon. Alright? Next. Reconstructing the climate changes of the past is extremely difficult because systematic weather observations began only a few centuries ago in Europe and North America. Records from India and tropical Africa are even more recent. Okay? For the time before records began, we have only proxy records, reconstructed largely from tree rings and ice cores, supplemented by a few incomplete written accounts. We now have hundreds of tree ring records from throughout the northern hemisphere and many from south of the equator, too, amplified with a growing body of temperature data from ice cores drilled in Antarctica, Greenland, and Peruvian Andes and other locations. We are close to a knowledge of annual summer and winter temperature variations over much of the northern hemispheres going back 600 years. So now I have underlined the key points for this passage. I have been taking the gist notes for the first two paragraphs. Now I want you to give me the gist of this paragraph. Quickly, in the comments, I want the gist of this paragraph. What are the keywords that you will write down for this paragraph during reading comprehension? I will move out of the way so you can see it clearly. Yes, Neon Penguin TV, there are 40 questions, but we are not doing all 40 today. We have divided all these 40 questions up into 3 classes. Quickly, everybody, I want everybody in the class to give me the notes for this paragraph. You're taking too long. Notes should happen almost immediately. Notes should come in almost immediately. If you're taking this long, then that is going to be an issue. If you're taking this long to give me notes, that means you have not understood the process. Then we will have to start over. Do you want to start over? Do you want me to explain how to take notes? I thought we had done that in yesterday's class. If you want to do it again, I can tell you. No problem. I also demonstrated how to do it 2 times. Over here and here. So why are you unable to give me notes for this paragraph? Why are you unable to give me notes for this paragraph? I want notes for these 2 chunks of information. It is 3 to 4 words maximum. Why are you struggling to come up with 3 to 4 words explaining the important information in these paragraphs? Such a simple task. Look at the underlined keywords. Right now, I'm not making you underline the keywords. I'm doing that for you. Otherwise, that is also something that you need to be doing on your own. But I'm simply telling you, look at the keywords and tell me, what is the important information given in these 2 paragraphs? Are you waiting for somebody else to give the answer because you are scared of making a mistake? I told you these notes will be only for you, not for anybody else to see. So you have to make these notes according to your own understanding. Yet you are hesitant to give me a response. That tells me that you are very underconfident in your understanding of the paragraph. If you are unsure whether you have understood what is being said here, then that is a huge problem. Because I'm not saying you need to understand 100%, you have to have expertise on this matter after you're done reading. That's not what I'm saying. But at least you should have a fair idea of what is being talked about. If you don't have a basic fair idea of what is being talked about, then you are in hot water, my friend. I was going to say soup. So I am going to give you the notes for this. You have to do this for the next paragraph. Look at the underlined keywords. Climate change, extremely difficult, systematic weather, centuries ago, records from India, Africa, even more recent. What is this telling you essentially? What is this? Issues with reconstruction. What are the problems? Why was reconstructing climate changes of the past a problem? Because systematic weather observations began recently and all the records and data that we have is quite recent. Okay? Yes, Tanmay, past climate record also works. Here, proxy records, tree rings. So, what are the important things here? Using tree rings for reconstructing. What are they reconstructing? The past climate changes. How do we understand climate change from before the time that observations were being noted down or recorded? What did we do? We looked at tree rings to figure out changes in climate patterns. All right? And we also got temperature data from ice cores. So I'm just going to write temp data. Okay? Moving on. Now, this book is a narrative history of climate shifts during the past 10 centuries and some of the ways in which people in Europe adapted to them. Part 1 describes the medieval warm period, roughly 900 to 1200. During these 3 centuries, Norse voyagers from northern Europe explored northern seas, settled Greenland and visited North America. It was not a time of uniform warmth, for then, as always since the Great Ice Age, there were constant shifts in rainfall and temperature. Mean European temperatures were about the same as today, perhaps slightly cooler. What are the notes that you will write down for this paragraph? Quickly now. What will you write down for this paragraph? Come on, come on, come on. You don't even have to read again what is being said. Just by looking at a few keywords, you should be able to tell what the notes for this paragraph should be. Very good, Tanmay. So, this is the explanation of the medieval warm period. There's mention of Norse voyagers, all right? And all of this is sort of like a preface to a book. Okay? Sunny, when you're able to do what I'm asking you to do, that means you're ready. If you're unable to do the tasks that I'm asking you to do, that means you're not ready. Simple as that. You taking mock tests, if you're scoring fine, then you're ready. If you're not scoring fine, then you're not ready. There is no magic keyword to this. 5 months is the answer. 10 days is the answer. None of that. Okay? Alright, this is a long one now. E and F are both long. So I am going to give you some time I am not going to mark anything. You have to read these and you have to give me the gist of the passage. I will not mark anything. You have to give me the gist of the passage. Okay? I will read it out once so that you can follow along. It is known that the Little Ice Age cooling cooling began in Greenland and the Arctic in about 1200. As the Arctic ice pack spread southward, Norse voyages to the west were rerouted into the open Atlantic, then ended altogether. Storminess increased in the North Atlantic and North Sea. Colder, much wetter weather descended on Europe between 1315 and 1319, when thousands perished in a continent-wide famine. By 1400, the weather had become decidedly more unpredictable and stormier, with sudden shifts and lower temperatures that culminated in the cold decades of the late 16th century. Fish were a vital commodity in growing towns and cities where food supplies were a constant concern. Dried cod and herring were already the staples of the European fish trade, but changes in water temperatures forced fishing fleets to work further offshore. The Basque, Dutch, and English developed the first offshore fishing boats adapted to a cooler and stormy Atlantic. A gradual agricultural revolution in northern Europe stemmed from concerns over food supplies at a time of rising populations. The revolution involved intensive commercial farming and the growing of animal fodder on land not previously used for crops. The increased productivity from farmland made some countries self-sufficient in grain and livestock and offered effective protection against famine. What is this about? What is this passage about? Or this paragraph about? Tanmay, all you're saying is it's about the Little Ice Age. Is that all the information? So much is being said and all you think the notes that you need to take are Little Ice Age. If we were to underline keywords, okay, communist Russian, it seems. Okay, this is about the struggle in food and the suffering in the Ice Age. Okay, agricultural revolution in Europe. Very good. So all of you are giving some points. You need to give all. So here we can say that this entire paragraph first explains the unpredictable weather conditions, how there were storms randomly, okay, how fish was important and how they were forced to fish further offshore, and lastly how agriculture was developed to protect against famines. Okay, this is what this is about. Nobody will teach only about studying in Japan. This is not for Japan, doesn't require IELTS. English speaking countries require IELTS. I'm teaching you IELTS right now, okay? All right. Is this clear? Last. Again, you have to do the same thing for this. I'm going to read it out once for you. Global temperatures began to rise slowly after 1850 with the beginning of the modern warm period. There was a vast migration from Europe by land-hungry farmers and others, to which the famine caused by the Irish potato blight contributed to North America, Australia, New Zealand, and southern Africa. Millions of hectares of forest and woodland fell before the newcomers' axes between 1850 and 1890 as intensive European farming methods expanded across the world. The unprecedented land clearance released vast quantities of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, triggering for the first time humanly caused global warming. Temperatures climbed more rapidly in the 20th century as the use of fossil fuels proliferated and greenhouse gas levels continued to soar. The rise has been even steeper since the early 1980s. The Little Ice Age has given way to a new climatic regime marked by prolonged and steady warming. At the same time, extreme weather events like Category 5 hurricanes are becoming more frequent. What is this about? Keywords: global temperatures now begin to rise. This is the beginning of the modern warm period. Vast migration from Europe. They wanted land because of famines, and so a lot of land was cut. And because of this, vast quantities of CO2 was released into the atmosphere. And this is the first time human-caused global warming has taken place. I want to put that in a box because that's very important information for you in general, that in the history of the Earth, this is the first time human-caused climate change has taken place. Temperatures climbed more rapidly in the 20th century. Fossil fuels, greenhouse gases, 80s. So, Little Ice Age gave way to a new climatic regime, which is steady warming. Extreme weather events like Category 5 hurricanes are also becoming more frequent. Okay? Tanmay, that's not enough. So, yeah, we are talking about modern warm period. Migration, human caused climate change. I'm just going to write CC, and because of CO2 emissions. All right, that's what this is about. Now we are going to move on to our questions. Okay, now you will have to answer all of these questions. I will not be answering them for you like yesterday. So here we are. Reading passage 2 has 6 paragraphs A to F. What did I tell you? Every time you see that your passages, your different paragraphs are lettered, that means you will have some sort of a match question. Okay? So here's your match question. Choose the correct heading for paragraphs B and D for paragraphs B and D to F from the list of headings below. Write the correct number in the boxes. Okay. So you need it for these 4. Okay. Here is where writing down the gist is so useful, because gist is essentially the concentrated version of the information in that paragraph. All you have to now do is match these different headings to the gist. If you are able to do that, you will automatically get the answer to all your different questions. Okay? Right? Quickly match and tell me, let's see who gets them right. Tanmay, you don't have to write this paragraph highlights this. You just write down the keywords. This is simply for your own reference. You are not showing this to anybody. You are using it to reference for your own self. So you don't have to make it sound fancy. You don't have to write complete sentences. Just write the keywords so you are immediately able to recognize which answer is which. For example, from looking at all of these list of headings, this one is so easy because you know this is paragraph F. The last paragraph, if you go to it and you look at the notes that we have taken, F, human caused climate change. It's there in the gist, correct? So you come back to the question, human impact on the climate, paragraph F, matched. So you have to do the same thing for the rest of them. I gave you one answer. Now you have to give me the answers for the rest of the questions. Do we have answers? Okay. Para B, study covering 1,000 years. People have responded to climate change. Enough food at last. So you're saying 7, 8, okay, let's see. Let's go to paragraph B. This is an explanation of the Ice Age. That's what we've written, right? And here, if you look at the context of why this is being explained, the climatic events of the Little Ice Age did more than help shape the modern world. They are the deeply important context for the current unprecedented global warming. So why is this being explained? Why is this explanation being given? Why is this explanation being given? Because the Little Ice Age has impacted our modern world. If we want to understand the modern world, we have to understand the Little Ice Age, right? So keeping that in mind, if you come back to this question, do you still think, Tanmay, your answer is the best? Choice? Okay, you think para E is 1. Aditya thinks para E is 1. Tanmay thinks para E is 9. Tanmay thinks para B is 7 and 15 para D is 8. Okay. I think out of all of these, if you look at para B, what is para B doing? It's explaining the little ice age and it's telling us why it's important for us to understand the little ice age. I highlighted two things for you. It is important for us to understand the little ice age because what do you see in blue? The climatic events of the little ice age did more than help shape the modern world. They are the deeply important context for the current unprecedented global warming. So this explanation helps us understand why the unprecedented global warming that we are witnessing right now is taking place. So with that in mind, which of these headings do you think fits with para B? Do you think it's this or do you think it could be this? Could it be 2, the relevance of the little ice age today? Could it be 2? Think about it. Meanwhile, para D, you're saying is 8. Let's go to para D. Para D is about the medieval warm period. It's about the Norse voyages. And it explains what the book is about. Okay? So let's go back and see the headings. You're saying 8 people have always responded to climate change. People have always responded to climate change. Or seven, a study covering 1,000 years. This gives it away. Right? It's the first line of the paragraph. First line of the paragraph. So, what is our answer here? What's the answer? 7. Now coming back to para B, I've already highlighted 2 things for you over there. Based on those 2 things, the answer should be the relevance of the little ice age today. Why? Because it clearly mentions that understanding the ice age, little ice age, is necessary to understand why there is unprecedented global warming in the modern age. Absolutely, Aditya, you are 100% correct. That leaves us with para E. Para E, Aditya, you said 1. Tanmay, you said 9. Samar, do you want to give a response here? 1, 9. Do you want to go back and check what para E is about? What have we written here? Agriculture protect people against famines. So they developed fishing techniques that aligned with stormier waters. They went more offshore to fish and agriculture was developed. What did both of these things ensure? Food for the people, right? And what is 9? Enough food at last. So, very good. 9 is the correct answer. Okay? So, 2, 7, 9, 4, those are your corresponding headings. Matching the heading is a difficult question type, which is why here your notes and your underlining of keywords will play a very important role. If you have taken notes and if you've underlined the correct keywords, you will instantly be able to make these connections. If you go back and check, everything that was important was already underlined. Everything that was necessary to get to the answer was already underlined, right? Okay, next set of questions, 18 to 22. You have to complete the summary using the list of words. This is your list of words over here. Oh, whoops. This is your list of words over here. You have to complete the summary using these words. Okay? Quickly give me the answers. The answers, let me help you out. The answers for 18 and 19 are written in our notes also. With the notes that we took for that particular passage, the answers are written for it in the notes. Quickly give me the answers. You can go back and take a look at the notes. It will help you out. Okay, Tanmay has given his answers. What do we have here? B, 18B, 19C. Okay. Very good. Any order is fine. I would write C first and then B because if we go back and check, tree rings are mentioned first and then ice cores are mentioned, right? Tree rings, ice cores. Okay. So that's why I will follow the same order, but it really doesn't matter. That's right. Then we can deduce that the Little Ice Age was at a time of blank rather than of consistent freezing. A. And does it use this word exactly? Absolutely correct. climatic shifts. We can go back and confirm over here. One sec. The Little Ice Age was far from a deep freeze, however, rather an irregular seesaw of rapid climatic shifts. Okay? Climatic shifts written right there. Good job. Then, within it, there were some periods of very cold winters, others of blank and heavy rain. What? Very good. H, storms and heavy rain, and yet another that saw heat waves with no rain at all. Very good, Tanmay. Absolutely correct. This one was fairly easy. Good job, everybody else. I hope you were able to understand. And that's great. Congratulations. That's fantastic. Yes, an internship will really help your application. That's good. And it will also give you much needed work experience that's going to be very beneficial for you moving forward. So great job. Okay. Final questions 23 to 26. Now you have to classify these 23, 24, 25, 26, and depending upon whether they happened in the medieval warm period, Little Ice Age, or the modern, not modern warm period. Okay. Luckily, we have labeled all the paragraphs. Okay. We have labeled all the paragraphs, and we will instantly be able to tell which of these happened in which period. All right, the first you are saying happened in the medieval warm period. Second, modern warm period, medieval warm period. Okay, so you're saying it should be A, C, A, B. Let's quickly recheck everything. This one, many Europeans started farming abroad. When did this happen? Started farming abroad? Here, vast migration from Europe by land-hungry farmers and others. This is happening when? You can see in the notes. Modern warm period. Vast migration from Europe by land-hungry farmers. They are looking for land elsewhere. They are going to other countries where there is more land in order to be able to farm. Because of this, unprecedented land clearance has taken place. When is this event happening? Modern warm period. Don't even have to look at the passage because we have written down the name over there. So what should be the answer for the first one? The answer for the first one should actually be C, modern warm period. Okay. Going to the next one, the cutting down of trees began to affect the climate. Now we don't have to go back because we just read it that this has also happened in the modern warm period. So this one was right. Very good. Next, Europeans discovered other lands. When did this happen? When did Europeans discover other lands? Norse voyagers from northeastern Europe, what did they do? They explored northern seas, settled Greenland and visited North America. Okay. Norse voyagers were the first ones to go and settle other lands. So when did they discover other lands for the first time? When did they discover other lands for the first time? What is this? Medieval warm period. So what should your answer be over here? Your answer should be very good, A. And finally, changes took place in fishing patterns. This is very easy to spot. This is where fishing patterns changed. When did this happen? Little Ice Age. So, correct answer here is B. Very good. So, Tanmay, 3 of your answers were correct. 1 was wrong. You've understood why? Understood why 1 was wrong? All right. So hopefully the rest of you were able to answer the questions as well. Aditya, Bittu, Summer, if you were not able to join on time, that's okay. You can watch the session later and answer the questions at your own pace. Okay. All right. That brings me to the end of today's session. Hope you found that helpful. If yes, do not forget to subscribe to the channel, share it with your friends, leave your valuable comments in the comment section and follow us on Telegram so you don't miss out on updates. I will see you tomorrow with part 3 of the same test. This is the same test. So what you did yesterday, this is the next passage. And then you're going to see the next passage tomorrow. Alright? Take care till then everyone. Bye.